Are you familiar with the Zodiac group, Tupa?
No, I kept thinking they were talking about the Zodiac killer or something.
Yeah, no, I don't think they were. So this is what people say was an offshoot of MJ12. So MJ12, they say allegedly was like the group of like high level scientists, 12 dudes who run the UFO profile. And they say it got changed to the Zodiac. I'm gonna have some clips of people explaining it. But let me just read this first, and then we'll cover it, and then we'll come back to it and read it again. So he gets an email from an unknown person on in 2010, and it says, "I just got a note from Bob Pree who asked me if I thought Murray Gell-Mann would make a good candidate for the Zodiac. As you know, it's one of the last secret type societies. The Zodiac is one of the really cool ones where there are 12 members at any one time, and it's still very secret. They do really cool stuff, but mostly since they are all very old, it's just dinners and exotic locations. I can tell you all the 12 members because I can't tell you all the 12 members because I don't know who they all are, but I know Paul Volcker is one. So again, 12 members, just like Majestic 12. Kind of odd, right? Some guy named Howdy, whose family owns Stuyvesant Town, Bob Pree, and I think Tom Brokaw. Bob represents Cancer, the sign, not the month. You remember until your death, but if you get senile, they can put you into an eccentric orbit and not invite you to meetings, etc. Anyway, the only way to get in is if someone dies. There are obviously no minorities or women allowed. LOL. I missed that the first time through. There are obviously no minorities or women allowed. Anyway, let me know what you think. Finally leaving West Africa tonight. Finally. Let me know when you get your postcard. You'll hopefully laugh a lot. Miss you."
That's crazy.
So instead of Jeffrey Epstein being like, "I don't know what the Zodiac is," or like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Murray doesn't play well in groups." So kind of just like I kind of pass on that. So I'm going to look up the names of those while I let these other videos play where we're going to get some UFO people talking about it. So here's Richard Dolan talking about the Zodiac. And I'm just going to go on a limb and say they're talking about the same thing. 12 members, the Zodiac. Find me another, the Zodiac Secret Society. You know what I mean? Here we go.
I'm guessing a lot of your listeners might know about Zodiac because you probably talked about it enough. Yeah. So, but that whole thing came out in a series of articles in UFO magazine, of all places, back in the late 90s, written by a guy under a pseudonym named Greg Halifax. That was the pseudonym. The real author is Jeffrey Griffith, who's still alive, still out there. He's an attorney.
Talk to anybody, but everybody try him, please.
Well, don't hassle the guy. He's going to just curl under a shell. And I like to think that there might be a way to reach him. But in any case, he's an interesting man because so he wrote this 3-part series dealing with essentially the inside workings of a crash retrieval, and not just crash retrieval, but like kind of like an MJ12 UFO management program, essentially, by the name of Zodiac.
Really quick, I want to interject and say it says that the name changed to the 70s, and in the Zodiac articles, it says the name changed to Zodiac in the 70s, basically. But then it says this is a caveat that kind of came to light more recently, was that during that time of that change, the CIA took control of Zodiac. The CIA, so the crash retrieval program and basically what you can call Majestic 12, was taken over fully by the CIA. They used other assets in the DOD, but the CIA, it said the agency took complete control of the program, basically. And I had heard from an intelligence source, obviously confidentially, that something to a similar effect of where the CIA was in charge of the Majestic 12 operations. But also recently, a few friends of mine, Christopher Sharp, Matt Ford, wrote an article talking about an agency. It's under the directorate. It's part of the CIA, Science and Technology Directorate, and that the CIA program was in charge of the retrievals. And it was called, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name right now, the Global Access Office.
Oh yeah, we've been recently hearing about this as well. This came out.
That's the one where Matt Ford had his gangster.
It ended up being printed in the Daily Mail because that's where they could get it.
Yeah, just like a month ago.
But yes, but they had inside sources, anonymously, but these are people that may come forward. But they're dealing with this, and it was
saying there were at least a dozen over the last in the last 20 years, I think.
Right. Yeah, since 2003 or so.
Yeah. Right.
And so the Global Access Office, and
Yeah.
again, this is the same kind of indication that the CIA is in charge of the retrieval program, and it makes sense because that's international.
Yeah, and their job was
Shout out James Iandoli engaging the phenomena, by the way, with this interview, and Richard Dolan here telling us about it.
essentially to cultivate, let's say, delicate relationships with all nations, including hostile nations, to be able to provide U.S. special ops personnel access to the scene of these retrievals so that they could acquire them.
Yeah, I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
that's
you in your
No,
Zodiac flow.
that's all interesting.
Yeah,
But it all ties in. And so this, the whole Zodiac program, as written about by pseudonym is Greg Halifax, aka Jeffrey Griffith, gives, I mean, it's actually a remarkable 3-part series about this fictionalized but very realistic scenario. And I don't know if people have access to it on my website. And I mean, I have a membership website, but this is a free link I have on my site. Anyone can go get it. You just go to my site, type in Sedge Masters. You can find the article and download the PDF link. I created that PDF myself, just photographed the old UFO magazines.
yeah,
You can't scan it that way, but you can at least read it. And it's very good reading. But the thing is, Griffith was friends with, he was mentioned in the Davis Wilson notes.
Yeah.
Along with a very close friend and colleague of his, a woman named Mary Elizabeth Elliott. And I don't know that she is alive anymore. It's not 100% certain to me, but it could be either way. She may not be around. If she is, my apologies to her. But she worked in some capacity at TRW Aerospace, and she was said to have gotten access to some very, very significant inside information in that capacity through Wright-Patterson. Don't know every detail. And furthermore, I have a feeling that the two of them very well may have had their own UFO experience together, which he wrote about in that Sedge Masters series. It was off of Palos Ranchos Verdes, California, Rancho Palos Verdes, sorry. Along the Pacific coast there, right facing the Channel Islands, where you got UFOs, USOs all over the place. And an object came from the ocean, flew over their car. I think this was them. And they chased after the UFO.
yeah.
They went up a road until the road stopped and they went on foot. They go up there and they see this armed, uniformed guy who tells them to get out. They're trespassing on private property. They're like, we're chasing a UFO.
Yeah.
And he's like, get out. And then they go back and they're thinking, how did that guy get up there? What's this all about? So it was a very weird thing. So he had some interesting connections to this phenomenon. But I think, I'm guessing, maybe through his own contacts, but maybe through her as well, he knows a lot. And I think he decided to gently, carefully put out that information that he felt he could through this fictionalized series.
Yeah, and the last time I had George Knapp and Cullum Kelleher on, I started to ask Cullum. I said, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to say some words. TRW, Mary Elliott, Jeffrey Griffith, and he said, I can't talk about that program.
Program.
Look at this clip. Ready for this clip? This is wild. So they're all talking about the Zodiac thing, which I think it's the same Zodiac mentioned in the files. Well, I'm going to read the email again after I play this next clip, but look at this.
I'm going to bring up some names. And
Here's James Iandoli again. Shout out engaging the phenomenon. We got Colin Kelleher, project scientist for OSAP and worked for Bigelow back in the day. Then we have George Knapp, of course.
Heavy hitters, dude.
Look at this reaction. Have you ever seen a reaction like this from Colin Kelleher ever?
Colin, you can tell me if they sound familiar. Jeffrey Griffith, Mary Elliott, TRW.
I'm not going to comment on that
Because I'm not saying anything. I'm not attaching a name to it. I'm just saying,
Well, I know where that is going, so I'm not at liberty to comment on that program.
Okay, but are you even able to say the name, or is it something where you can't even say the name of it?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that program, so I'm not. It's part of what I can't talk about.
George, can you tell me what I'm talking about?
No, not really. No,
You can't say the name?
I don't think I want to go there. No.
They're talking about Zodiac right here, just in case people are Oh shit. Uh-oh.
That's
I'm gonna bring up some
crazy.
names,
Right?
but that's because that's of high interest. Does that have anything to do with David Grush coming out and anything that he discovered while he was doing his investigation for the UAP task force?
I think Dave did touch fist bumps with some of that information and some of those people. But you'd have to ask him that. He'd have to be the one to answer that. I just say this, James, at the end of this, Colin and I go way back to the Skinwalker Ranch days, and that ranch it is still a unique.
Let's go back to the beginning of there a little bit.
Because I'm not saying anything. Jeffrey Griffith, Mary Elliott, TRW.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Because I'm not saying anything. I'm not attaching a name to it. I'm just saying,
Well, I know where that is going, so I'm not at liberty to comment on that program.
Okay, but are you even able
This
to
is
say the name,
weird.
or is it something where you can't even say the name of it?
I like James a lot.
I'm not at liberty to discuss that program, so I'm not. It's part of what I can't talk about.
We'll let Nap go. And I want to hear
Can you
your
tell me what I'm talking about?
No, not really.
All right. So what do you think, Tuba? We got these two kind of big time UFO people talk about a lot of stuff, and they both kind of are clamming up and like clenching their butts about this Zodiac thing.
Well, that's obviously significant. I like James, but I think it's weird that he is laughing about this. I know he's nervous, right? But I mean, he's trying to get these guys to say something. Like Keller seems like he can get in trouble if he talks about this. So bring it up once, be very gentle about it, move on. You know what I mean? But that's weird. But they knew he was going to bring this kind of stuff up. It's almost theatrical to dance around it and be like, oh, I can't say nothing about that.
Right.
It's another way to build the myth too.
Yeah. So crazy. Now let's go back to the email again. So do you think it's the same Zodiac or no? We got the name of the Zodiac, a secret society, the 12-member thing. I just got a note from Bob Pirie, who asked me if he thought Murray Gell-Mann would make a good candidate. Let me see. I looked it up. Bob Pirie says Robert S. Pirie. I think I actually have it on the next thing. We'll go back and forth. Robert S. Pirie attended Buckley Law School in New York City, Hotchkiss School, died 2015. Graduated from Harvard College and Harvard Law School as an undergraduate. He was attracted to bibliographical work in Elizabethan authors and began to collect actively in the late 1950s while a lieutenant in the U.S. Army stationed in Germany. During the 1960s and early 1970s, Pirie was associated with law firms in Boston. His work for Harold Hughes, for the Harold Hughes election campaign, which might be a descendant of Howard Hughes. I need to double check that. During this time, landed him in the master list of Nixon's political opponents. He later practiced in New York City and then served as an intern as a chairman and CEO of Rothschild North America, senior managing director of Bear Stearns and Company. So there's that Rothschild thing. And again, Epstein said to Peter Thiel, of all people, that he represents the Rothschilds. And who talked about the Rothschilds too was Chris Gray in his murder video. Yeah,
wild.
really fucked up. But okay, so continuing on the email. Just got a note from Bob Pirie who asked me if he thought Murray Gell-Mann would make a good candidate for the Zodiac. And we got Murray Gell-Mann here. Let me just show you guys this real quick. Murray Gell-Mann died in 2019, was an American theoretical physicist who played a preeminent role in the development of the theory of elementary particles. Gell-Mann introduced the concept of quarks as the fundamental building blocks of the strongly interacting particles and the renormalization group as a foundational element of quantum field theory and statistical mechanics. And if you look at the original MJ12 list, right, it has a bunch of people kind of like this. You know what I mean? Like a theoretical physicist on the forefront of his field, entering a secret society of 12 people. I kind of think it's all the same thing here. All right, let's continue along. As you know, it's one of that's an important one. As you know, so right, Jeff already knows all about the Zodiac. As you know, it's one of those last secret type societies. The Zodiac is one of the really cool ones. There are 12 members at any one time, and it's still very secretive. Again, 12 members, just like Majestic 12. Let me see. Do I have any of that? Is there a short thing on it? Let's see. I'm trying to find like a quick one. I know I have it in one of my videos too, but I don't remember what exactly it was in. We'll just continue along reading for now. And continue that there are 12 members at any one time, and it's still very secretive. They do really cool stuff, and mostly since they're all very old, just dinners and exotic locations. I can't tell you all the 12 members because I don't know who they all are. I know Paul Volcker is one, so I got him looked up too. Let's see who this dude is. Died in 2019. Paul Volcker was an American economist who served as the 12th chairman of the Federal Reserve from 1979 to 1987. During his tenure as chairman, Volcker was widely credited with having ended the high levels of inflation seen in the United States throughout the 1970s and early 1980s with measures known as the Volcker shock. So far we got quantum physicist, Federal Reserve banking chairs, all part of a secret 12-man group. Interesting. Continuing along here. Where is it at? Because I don't know who they all are. I know Paul Volcker is one. Some guy named Howdy, whose family owns Stevenstown, Bob Pirie, and I think Tom Brokaw, who I think is the last name I have. Let's see who this guy is. Still alive. This guy's an author. Is an American author and retired network television journalist. He served as the co-anchor of the Today Show from 1976 to 1981 with John Pauley, then as the anchor and managing editor of NBC Nightly News. In the previous decade, he served as a weekend anchor for the program from 1973 to 1976. He is the only known person to have hosted all three major NBC News programs, the Today Show, NBC Nightly News, and briefly Meet the Press. He formerly held a special correspondent post for NBC. So a high-level person at NBC. Kind of an interesting group, right? To all be part of a 12-man secret society. Doesn't that kind of feel like an MJ12 type group? What do you think, people?
Yeah, some kind of group that can yield power from having influence in multiple areas of influence.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where I have my little short excerpt. I think it was in my Stan Friedman doc. Let me see. I'm going to try and find it real quick because people need to see what MJ12 is, and I think I had it real short in that one. MJ12. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go.
The organization is claimed to be the code name of an alleged secret committee of scientists.
So far we got. Let me see. Oh shit. Fuck. Sorry guys. Roscoe Hillenkotter right there on the left, first director of the CIA. Vannevar Bush, who's the head of MIT and the National Research something. Who's that? James Forstall, the first Secretary of Defense. You have Howard Donald Menzel, head of Harvard, big time debunker for the Air Force during that time period. These are all people allegedly were part of Majestic 12. So it's kind of like an eclectic group of like scientists, politicians, government people that were like keeping a lid on this stuff.
Of an alleged secret committee of scientists, military leaders, and government officials formed in 1947 by an executive order by U.S. President Harry S. Truman to facilitate recovery and investigation of alien spacecraft. Many of the alleged documents were dispelled as fakes. However, Stanton Friedman would analyze the documents himself. He came to the conclusion that while some were fake, key documents like the Eisenhower memo were authentic.
In researching his book on the Majestic 12 documents, Friedman meticulously verified every detail within the Eisenhower document. He investigated each supposed member of the group and found that they were the best and brightest military minds of the day, including Secretary of Defense James Forstall, high-ranking Army, Navy, and Air Force officers, and the first 4 directors of Central Intelligence.
One of Friedman's last major...
All right, there you go. So I don't know, man. I can't tell you who all the 12 members are because I don't know who they all are, but I know Paul Volcker is one, some guy named Howdy. As you're a member until your death, but if you get senile, they can put you into eccentric orbit and not invite you to meetings, etc. Anyway, the only way to get in is if someone dies. There's obviously no minorities or women allowed. Again, that's hilarious. And I'm a minority, so I can laugh at it. Anyway, let me know what you think. Finally leaving West Africa tonight. Finally, let me know when you get your postcard. You'll hopefully laugh a lot, miss you. And then again, Jeffrey Epstein is like, what the hell? What do you mean the Zodiac? What are you talking about? He says, Murray doesn't play well in groups. I don't know about this Murray guy. I don't know about adding him. And again, Murray is the guy who invented or discovered quarks, theoretical physicist. The other people we saw, there was Volcker, they named, former chairman of the Federal Reserve. Tom Brokaw, former NBC News guy. I think it's it, bro. What else could it be?
I think you're right, and I wonder if doesn't play well in groups is like code for something, like won't attend an orgy or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but again, if anyone has any other ideas of what Zodiac this could be in the comments, please let me know. But I don't know, bro. I think I found something kind of big here. You know, Just saying. Can't wait to see all the shows kind of spin it. Hopefully they give me credit. If not, it's cool. How it goes. Okay, what next? Okay, on to the next one. We're almost done too, but believe it or not, I'm sorry. How are you doing on time? Are you tired? Are you dead?
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay, cool. This is a good time, right? Like,
Yeah,
fuck it.
yeah. I'm
Cool.
blunted. I got a Diet Coke. Dude, we're living our life.
Oh, Diet Coke. Let's go, bro. Hell yeah. All right.